Thank you, Hindi team. Now it is the time for the English session. Today is 81st day of continuous webinar. Welcome everyone to today's session. Before beginning the session, we will have a silent prayer. Good evening and welcome once again. Today's our guest is MARIAN SALCEDO. Dr. MARIAN SALCEDO is very familiar to us. Actually, the intention of IFPH is unite the homeopathic doctors together under one umbrella. Actually, she is the holder of that umbrella because language is a big problem for us. So she is connecting many doctors. She is the translator of IFPH. So thank you, MARIAN SALCEDO, for joining with us, and your works are appreciable. Thank you so much. And everyone are aware about MARIAN SALCEDO, even though I am saying few words about her. She's the member of Thomas Palbo Parchero. I don't know the pronunciation and all. Maybe this will be correct. Homeopathic Association, M Public Health University of San Andreas, I don't know. Master of Physiotherapy, European Master in Dermography, Spain, Clinical Investigator and Integrative Medical Research, Graduate and Professor in Research Methodology in Loyola University, Bolivia, author and principal investigator of several double-blind randomized control of clinical trial, postgraduate teacher of Loyola University, and moreover, she is the main part of IFPH and she is the chapter head of Bolivia. Welcome, MARIAN SALCEDO, to today's webinar. Please welcome. Oh, please, okay, I'll make you as a co-host. Sorry. Now you can, please.
Thanks, ma'am, for your kind words. It's an honor for me to be here. Good evening to all of you. Always it's a pleasure to share with all of you, and thanks to all IFPH all IFPH team, because you're working so hard and you're inspiring to a lot of homeopaths around the world. So thank you very much. I will share my screen. This is my first words. The second one will be that I apologize because English is not my native language, so I have some difficulties on that. But I did this presentation with too much love to share with all of you some new remedy that I discovered. And I hope that this presentation can help you or inspire you to read about this remedy. So thank you very much for being here and for all your confidence with me. I'll do my best. I am from La Paz, Bolivia, so warm regards from my city. Okay, so I will start with a quote of Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, who says, "The doctor is a researcher of the nature and mode of action of disease." In this quote, Dr. Hahnemann highlights the importance and responsibility of the doctor in understanding diseases. Hahnemann believed that the doctor should go beyond treating the symptoms of a disease and instead investigate and understand the nature of disease and how they act on the body. This phrase emphasizes the need for doctors to be constant learners dedicated to researching and developing increasingly deeper knowledge about disease, with the aim of providing effective treatments and improving the health of the patients. So I will share with you 2 clinical cases. I have 6 clinical cases of this remedy, but these 2 was the most important in my experience and in my life that let me realize how you can think in this remedy. So the symptomatic totality will give us the patient pictures, and that's the importance to have an interview not only with the patients, also with all the family that I learned from Dr. Shaji Kuria. So in the clinical case number 1 is 16 years old, it's a boy. The follow-up was about 7 years. He felt abandoned. Alone aggravates. It's a long history of feeling alone, abandoned in the middle of the crowd. He would like to have friends, but cannot socialize. Despite forming a beautiful family as an only child, he wanted to have a brother. All of these symptoms were worse during the day. He remembered with great regret the loneliness of his childhood, and he remembered complaining to his fathers for whom he felt great indifference. According to his words, he told me, I cannot express love or gratitude to my parents. I have in mind a lot of animals that appear in my room. My life is a chaos. I only think about ending this and dying. So he had tried to commit suicide by hanging, and then two more occasions he tried to jump from the 10th floor of the drone and drown in the jacuzzi of his room. At that time, this was my repertorization sheet, so I tried a lot with him. We started on September 2017, and that was my repertorization sheet at that time. That was aggravating in daytime, absent-mindedness taking conversation during, alone aggravates, delusion images of animals, suicidal dispositions, grief, event about past. And this was all the remedies. So I was thinking maybe that phosphorus will cover him, that abandoned, that need to protection. So was my first prescription. On 2019, sorry, this year, I just have the same symptoms, but I apply some filter. So it was improving, but not too much. But phosphorus is still there. So I tried once more with a different potentiation. And on October 2021, some symptoms disappear, but other ones appear. For example, the cruelty. So he was very cruel with his family, with all his environment, with his animals. Starts something like a mania about that he needs a big things in the life. For example, some symptoms remained, and this suicidal disposition was once more, and start with hating to his parents and hating to all the people. So everything has changed, but the mother told me, yeah, he was better with the relationships with me and with his father also. So maybe let's try once more phosphorus, but there were a lot of remedies, and this one, platina, was starting to appear there. So in the next consultation, the next follow-up on December 2021, a lot of symptoms disappear again, but there were some symptoms that stay there, like a grief about past events, detached, the indifference, apathy of the family, the cruelty, and the delusions that he is a great person. So was very strange. The illusion of being a great character, that megalomania, the feeling of loneliness had increased. So at that time, I decided to change to platinum. I know that the repertorization sheets don't show me the platinum like what's in the first place. And so I tried with this remedy. But there were a lot of times of silence of the family of the boy. And on February 2022, appear these three symptoms, very interesting, like desire to kill and the pain, cutting external and the lower limbs. So platina was there covering all the symptoms, but I was not agree and happy with the follow-up that we have, but he was improving, but not too much. He was improving, there was some stop, he was improving, and there appear new symptoms. that was covering by other remedy. And in this part of the slide, you can see that phosphorus is very close, platina is very close, sepia you can see in the same repertorization that are very close, and sometimes appear natrium mirror too. So it was a very confused case for me, because when you are starting your practice, you really start to know some remedies. You can feel it when the patient starts speaking. But in this case, for me, it was a very strange remedy. So I can't believe what happened there. And I discovered this symptom that is break things desire too. So the definition of this symptom is like, I feel that I am the victim. Do the sickness originate by surrounding relationships, boss, office, home, whatever you want, and that I wish to destroy all that is responsible for my desire, my miseries, my sickness. So in the words of my patient, he told me, I am a victim of my classmates. I would like to disappear them, to kill them. That was the reason why I take and I discovered this symptom that I didn't know at that time. Desire to kill. Obviously, we think something like nux vomica. There were platinum too. There were phosphorus too. There were natrium mirror too. But this is very interesting because it starts to appear plutonium, nitricum. Cutin external, we can say the same, is plut there. And cutin lower limbs is the same. There is plutonium. Yeah, here is plutonium, but there's something is like platina too and phosphoric acid too. So was very, very strange for me. So this is the first case. On February 2022, I retake the case. I put all these symptoms, and there is phosphoricum acidum, but there is plutonium nitricum. So I decide to study this remedy because it was very strange. But when I was studying all the materia medica, I discovered a lot of things that then I can understood in my patient. So this is the case number one. Really, I don't want to take a lot of these patients because I really would like to introduce you to the materia medica and explain about the remedy. So I will go with case number two. She's a girl. It's not a real imagine because I don't have the license to show her. Is a 15 years old girl who is transferred by psychiatry with constant sadness in relation to past events. According to her, in her words, it will be easy to leave home. I don't feel anything for my family. I want solitude. When they accompany me, I feel bad. I don't want them to be with me. And at the same time, I want their company. I think I'm getting crazy. But when they accompany me, I can show affection. When they leave, I feel very mortified. During the interrogation, she expressed a lot that her life is a chaos. And her mother told me she always dressed in red. Everything about her makeup is red, and her room is painted in red. It's impossible to have a sleep there. In addition to having fallen in love with a girl, which caused her big problems at school. She says, no one wants to be with me. When we have the free time, I feel very alone in the middle of the crowd. I feel isolated. I see life go by as if behind glass. That's why my lover infuses my sadness with joy. That's a very nice expression. I see life going by as if I was living behind a glass. So that was very interesting. The repertorization sheet was this one with these symptoms. Of course, I know that this chaotic life is just for remedies, but just I take it as a just to know that, to learn about that. These were like an antagonism because the company aggravates, but at the same time she felt very well with company. But this symptom was very nice because she had aversion to the company with mortification. And in these two rubrics, very few remedies are there, and one of it was plutonium. But in the same case, this case is very similar to the last one because phosphorus and platinum are very close, also sepia and lycopodium and natrium ure. So that is the interesting thing for me, just to let you know that some polypress can be very close to this small remedy, and we can think in all the remedies, and we cannot see plutonium nitricum if we don't have that in mind, that information in mind. So let's speak about the element. Plutonium is often cited as the most poisonous of the elements. Plutonium is one of the actinides, the elements which come after actinium, the third element in the uranium series. So this is the structure of plutonium. Is a natural radioactive element of the actinide metal series. Its atomic symbol is P and U. Its atomic number is 94. Plutonium is used as a natural fuel in the production of radioisotopes for research in radionuclide batteries, for pacemakers, and as a fission agent in nuclear weapons. So in the nature, it's just an element, a mineral, an element. It's not radioactive. To be radioactive is potentially radioactive. To have that radioactivity, we have to break the nucleus. And this is very, very interesting. The half-life of this molecule, that is 24,350 years. It means that if we break the nucleus, the reaction will continue for this time. So you can imagine it's incredible. It's impossible to imagine that time. It's a silver metal which has 6 different crystalline forms. It is rather reactive and oxidized when exposed to air, forming the yellow-colored plutonium oxide. Okay, so this is how these elements react. This is an uranium, maybe it's most known for all of us. We have to bond this element with different kind of things. For example, neutrons, deuterium, a lot of different kind of bombarders. So when we arrive to the nucleus will have some process called fission. That fission is just to break the nucleus, and when we break the nucleus, we will have the different products of that fission. For example, electrons, neutrons, energy, gamma rays that are more potent than the X-rays, and they have the ability to penetrate all the tissues. And another kind of elements. In the specific case of plutonium, we have 6 isotopes of 6 different varieties of plutonium. It's always the same element, but there is 6 varieties. And the plutonium-239 is the potentially radioactivity. And we have detonators. When it starts a conventional explosive, we will have energy, we will have gamma rays, and these 2 elements, polonium and beryllium. But it doesn't occur in the nature. In the nature, it's just like a potentially radioactivity. It's not always in radioactivity. That's very important to note. So about the homeopathic remedy and a little review of the plutonium nitricum proving. We have these 2 very important personages in the provings and the invaluable knowledge give to us. So they gave us some ideas, provings, and contributions to the homeopathic world. These doctors are Dr. Jean Cholten, Dr. Rajan Sankaran, Jeremy Sher, Flubber Stuigis, and Patricia Leroux. The remedy as a plutonium nitricum was prepared by Dr. Didier Lustig from France, from Paris, and the clinical trial was carried out by Jeremy Sher and the students of Dynamics School in London in 1995 to 1996, according to the Hahnemanian method. So, according to the words of Dr. Sher, the organ affinity is of the remedy, plutonium nitricum, is in particular affect the deepest level of the human being, bone marrow, DNA, genetic structure, inner organs, and the deepest of emotions. So this imagine says much about plutonium nitricum. Is the pain of feeling abandoned with a feeling of isolation, with the modality of rejecting company, feeling that no one wants to be with him. So this is the imagine of plutonium nitricum. It's a crowd, but he's living lonely. He's living in isolation of all the society, and it's difficult for him to communicate with all the people. So he feels that no one wants to be with him. In a world, in a crowded world, is feeling totally alone. So that is very interesting because it's some keynotes in all the subjects, the troubles that have plutonium nitricum. The first one is the abandoned, the isolation, detached, and rejected company for others. It's something like he doesn't fit in the society. It's like this square never will fit in a circle. He doesn't fit in his own environment, in his family, in his school, in everything, in all his activities. There is no the companion of the people. Is absolutely feeling abandoned and detached. So these sensations will result in a hopelessness and vulnerability of the boy, of the girl, of the people. The feeling of abandonment is very profound, very deep. The loneliness in the crowd, isolated from the world, it feels strange, like this, strange, peculiar, it doesn't fit. And we have these two pillars, very important, and I like very much how Jeremy Sher started to explain it. Plutonium nitricum lives in a collective unconsciousness. It is below the earth, occult, hiding, so it represents the subconscious or unconscious, which is hiding from the reality. But it governs all your actions. There is expressed part of life. We have both these things. They have a great transformational abilities, have a lot of spirituality, and they transform themselves. So this remedy is very interesting because it's like a mushroom in the reaction that it has. The remedy seems to work like this mushroom. It's very close to an imagine for a nuclear bomb explodes. So you can see this analogy. Yeah, when the bomb explodes, you can see smoke in the space. In the similar thing like a mushroom. So the action is growing underground and suddenly propping up. A lot of things which are going at the subconscious level, and then suddenly it presents as destructive either at the level of mind or at the level of body. You will see a lot of repression, lot in their subconscious. Past shameful events feel blushing deep inside as seen on face become red like this, in anger and in sadness. They are blushing in felt deep inside. They change the topic once they are, talking about shameful events, but suddenly they realize and they will change immediately the topic and put on the mask, this one. which they always wear. So this is how they hide their emotions behind the mask, have repressed sexual desire buried inside. You know, all this negative is buried inside to keep balance. Again, internalization of anger is just a part of adaptation, thinking of past as if awoke after age of Stone Age. So in Pluton Night, it has a lot of things for Stone Age from the past with the parents, with the grandparents. He feels like they are carrying out the sins of all the family. And they have two things like a magic too when they discover the fire. Something like magic, very subtle, but at the same time is very deep in the emotions. And all the emotions like need to protection, detached, isolation, abandon are very, very deep. So in this field, we can think of phosphorus, we can think of natrium because it's very deep remedy. All the emotions are keep it inside. It's the same like natrium. They don't like to speak about their own sentiments, so they keep it a mask. So that is the point why we have to study a lot of different remedies, because according to Dr. Hahnemann, the soda will be developing always. So that's the reason to research new remedies to keep treating in an effective way that developing of the soda. So this is very important. This is for the Spanish audience. The plutonium nitricum will feel all the sin of the fathers upon their shoulders. They are paying all the sins of the family. It's very important to interrogate about how was the childhood, because it's very typical in isolation in childhood, or maybe in solitary confinement of a child. For example, the mother get sick, so the child was confinement to grow with the grandma, for example, or with some uncle, or the elder sister or brother. This is a very important detonant for plutonium nitricum. Discord in the family, buried emotions, anger for mother. There is a very important, a bad relationship with mother, maybe very close to natrium. And after taking the remedy, it's important to note that they will get an weeping mode, because the first thing that plutonium nitricum will heal is the ability of communication, the ability to feel, the ability to communicate how I am feeling. And this was so in the province that it will be weighed by the weeping mood. So that's very important to observe. Is a chilly patient, is a sensation as he lives in other dimensions. Mainly woman, repressed sexuality. Is very interesting to see in these patients homosexuality, like in the last case that I shared with you, in the case number 2. But I didn't got that information, but my own patient, that information was given by her mother. So that is the mushroom-like have the behavior of plutonium nitricum. Plutonium nitricum will show you one face, but subconscious is another phase. That's important to have some interview with the parents of some of the very good friends of them, to have that information that is under the mask that they never will told us. According to Jeremy Sher, is a very interesting remedy of all the homosexuality and the confusion about the sexuality that is very typical in America nowadays. And this was a very interesting rubrics for me, that plutonium nitricum has irritability, anger, isolation, intolerance. They could be rude, cruel, and aggression. That maybe if we can just see these rubrics, we can think in lycopodium, for example, that in one time, one of my patients, the first one, received phosphorus, platinum, lycopodium, natrium, but I don't have that answer that we have the custom to see with homeopathic remedies, a very deep healing, and at the same time, a very effective results and very short time results. So when I just read this proving, I understood that there is a lot of polycrests who can be very close, and we never can come in this remedy, think in the remedy, if we don't have at least the name in the mind. And this is a very important rubric too, that is no communication. For plutonium nitricum, it's very difficult to get communication with the people. So they cannot speak about their sentiments, how they are feeling. That was the same words that I have in these two cases. I don't feel nothing for my parents. I can't express my gratitude, my love to my parents. It's very difficult for me. And when they left my room, I feel mortified because I need their company, but I can't say that they are important in my life. That was the specific discourse of my patient. So when I was reading the proving, I just keep that kind of that information in my mind, and then I can look up for the symptoms in the repertory. Other important issue in plutonium nitricum is the dreams. And this is a very nice rubric. Maybe is the keynote, is the single remedy that has this rubric, that is same dream come 2 nights. So they start dreaming today, tomorrow will continue in the dream, but they will know the result of that dream. Is very, very interesting, because I hear from some patients in my experience as a doctor, and I never keep it in mind. I never give that interest. But now I hear well, because I just read, I just study. Dreams, flying. There is a very interesting of sexual dreams. Maybe it's one of the most remedy who has sexual dreams. Dreams about death, dreams struggles, and the death of family members. And this is another controversy, because they feel something inside. They feel love inside, but they cannot express that love as sepia remedy. So it's very important to differentiate with sepia too. So in dreams, they will have like nightmares about the death of the family members, and subconsciousness will be the guilty by not expressing the love and the gratitude at the right time. So I found some interesting rubrics that I would like to share with all of you. This is in the complete repertory. For example, absent-mindedness, talking, conversation, duty. We have calibromatum, lycopodium, but plutonium nitricum is there. And I remember the discourse of the mother of the first boy, who told me, yeah, when I am speaking to my boy, he's just absent-mindedness. So the mother was joking with him. Yeah, I have to move your hand as a mouse to keep your attention. And he just returned like, what you told me? Yeah. I don't know, where are myself, right? The another rubrics is a mortification without company. He needs company, but he rejects the company and starts feeling mortification. So we have the same. Platina, that was my patient. I was wrong with this remedy, and then I have plutonium nitricum. Aversion to the company with mortification. There is just few remedies. There is plutonium nitricum, the suicidal disposition, that we can see it like a plutonium nitricum too. Platina and phosphorus, that was my last choices, with a little improvements of the follow-up. It was not the best results that I would like to have. Interference, apathy towards one. Anger, suppressed controls. Yeah, when they start to feel controlled, they will get anger, and the anger will be with a red face. And so there is plutonium nitricum too. Stramonium is another remedy that I saw that is very, very close. Aggravates alone. a lot of remedies. So natrium and phosphorus were both there. That was the confusion that I had with a lot of years, and grief about a past event. So in this kind of grief, because it's very deep, very, very deep grief, we can think in natrium, platinum is there also, and plutonium nitricum. I never can imagine that plutonium nitricum will feel a very deep grief as if he or she will be a natrium remedy. And this is another interesting topic to the plutonium nitricum people who start speaking with a chaotic word. Everything is chaotic. It's chaotic life, is chaotic behavior, is chaotic relationships. Everything is chaotic. So I found in these 6 patients, these 2 was the most important for me because I have a long follow-up and a long of wrong prescription, very close but wrong prescriptions. They 6 all have chaos in their words to express everything. Everything is chaotic, but in the repertory is just 4 remedies. I didn't know these 3, but plutonium nitricum used very, very frequently, very often that word chaotic. So after the prescription, I used an LN potencies in different potentiations according to the needs of my patients. But after the follow-up of 40 days, that was the expressions of my patients. That it was very, very nice, and I really would like to share with you. Patient 1 told me, I'm feeling of lightness after taking this remedy. I feel happier, relaxed, more patient, strength, and power. I am able to detach and see from distance, so I become more like an observer. I have a better balance. And according his mother, he told me, yeah, now he's much better. He's improving a lot. Now he has friends. And now there is no more requirements of a Mercedes-Benz, of a very expensive clothes, of a very expensive food. So that illusion that he's a great personage was disappearing by using plutonium nitricum. And in the patient number 2, if you remember, she told me, yeah, I am living like I am behind a glass. I am just seeing to pass my life. And that was in the follow-up, the phrase that she told me. The sensation to see behind a mirror, it's gone. Now I am the owner of my life. So I really enjoy this phrase because it's empowerment that they can have with our homeopathic remedy and our homeopathic science. And I never saw and I never hear with another kind of remedies this kind of expressions. I am the owner of my life. So she decided to conduct a well life. Now she's meditating. She break the relationship with that girl and is going very, very well. So I will share here some interesting phrases in provings. The provings was carried out by Dr. Jeremy Sher. He has a specific book about plutonium nitricum that is dedicated to the victims of the nuclear bomb. And I just find some few phrases in these provings just to share with you that is they fit to the discourse of my patients. So now when I hear, I pay attention to the remedy. For example, the feeling so abandoned, but the modality is at evening. Living behind a glass, behind a mirror. So this was one of the phrases that let me think about plutonium nitricum in the proving. Sometimes it's just not enough to have the repertory on the symptoms of the repertory because we have a lot of remedies. But when we read the provings, we keep in mind some phrases that we can use then to think in different kind of remedies. I feel like I'm not in this planet or this reality. That was the sensation of both of my patients. I don't fit in this society. I don't have friends. It's a crowded world, but I'm feeling alone. I don't have friends, and I really would like to have friends. I'm not living in this planet. I'm from another planet. I'm from another reality. So this is a very common phrase of plutonium nitricum patients. And the other one is locked in my own person. I didn't want to communicate with anyone. This is another very interesting topic in plutonium nitricum, the impossibility to express the nice things that they have in their hearts. So I hope you enjoy this presentation. There is a lot of information about plutonium nitricum. The objective of this conference was just to introduce you in this remedy, and there is homework to get differentiations in the diagnosis with another remedies. In my case, I found like a phosphorus, like a sepia, like a natrium, like a lycopodium, and like a stramonium. And then I hear with one of our colleagues from Ecuador that we have to think in plutonium nitricum when we have a phosphorus-like patient who starts cuting. And cuting is a symptom very common nowadays in all the adolescents that we have. So if we just keep in mind the remedy, maybe we can help and we can transform their lives, not just their lives, all the environment, because they are very conflicted persons who have very difficult relationships in their own family, in their own college, in the university, in all the spaces that they can go. They have a lot of troubles. And I saw with these 6 patients, and these 2 in particular, how they are developing new skills to have a better relationships. So that is the greatest thing that we have in homeopathy, to change their life, but not their own life, the life that we have with all our environment too. So thank you very much for your attendance, and warm regards from my city, La Paz, Bolivia, South America. Thanks, ma'am. It's up to you.
Thank you so much. It's a great awareness for us. Thank you so much. And the participants, if you have any questions, please raise your hands and ask to Dr. Mariam. Dr. Shaji Kudiat, please. Okay. Now we have.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice. We have a doctor presenting something, a new medicine. Mostly we are not unaware of studied this medicine in our BHMS curriculum. So this is a new remedy for us. So happy that Dr. Marian Salcedo was able to bring this medicine to our awareness, so that we can include this knowledge also for our treatment purposes. So thank you, Dr. Marian, for this awareness. Okay, there are 2 hands already raised, so thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shaji Kudiat. Dr. Gracia, please unmute yourself and ask.
Ahí está. Gracias. Gracias. Gracias, Marian, te pasaste. Lo primero es cuando tenemos un paciente tan agresivo, porque yo al pasarlo a veterinaria, no sabes qué punta agarrar para entrar al medicamento, ¿no? ¿Cuál es el tendón de Aquiles? ¿Cuál es la debilidad de un agresivo para poderle enganchar y poder entender qué es lo que está ocurriendo? Y realmente en este medicamento ha sido muy difícil. Decir que 2 o 3 2 o 3 síntomas te permitieron llegar al medicamento. Y así que bueno, eso comunicarle, te agradezco porque estas historias clínicas fueron absolutamente buenas. La primera, lo que saqué, la falta de comunicación. La falta de comunicación, este perro, no debe ladrar. No quiere comunicarse bajo ningún aspecto. Y lo otro que te quiero preguntar es con respecto a la compañía. Mal entendí yo, pero el primero, ¿la compañía lo mejora o no? ¿O me equivoqué?
Okay, sí, te voy a traducir entonces. So let me translate, mom.
Yeah, as
Doctora
usual, you
Grace.
have to translate the question and answer. You have to. Thank you, Dr. Gracia, for asking question. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, so Doctora Graciela from Argentina is telling us that she's in a veterinarian file, it's an homeopathic veterinarian. So how in a veterinarian field she can arrive to think and plutonium nitricum in an animal. So the first thing that she will keep in mind is that no communication, the dog is not barking. And was a very interesting that two cases, and when we share clinical cases, we can think about a lot of remedies and just hearing the process for the people and just to read the provings, we can arrive to some close remedies to heal our patients. Graciela, ¿me puedes repetir la pregunta, porfa? So I need to the question because I just left in my mind. Está muteado tu micrófono.
Ahora sí. Te preguntaba, la compañía. Me pareció que había colocado la compañía Mejora. Me interesa eso de la compañía.
Yeah, and what about the company? The company ameliorates this kind of patients. Entonces, primero les digo en inglés y luego te explico, Grace, por favor. So to arrive to this remedy is just not reapproving. It was 7 and 6 years of follow-up of my patients. So this is the moment to thank them by their patients, because the second one was a psychiatric patient, and she doesn't have another kind of safe medicine to get out of that psychiatric illness. So in this case about the company, there is a controversy because they want company, but then when they have the company, they reject the company, and when they reject the company, they feel mortified. So they have these 3 rubrics. Entonces, Grace, en estos casos de plutonium nitricum, el paciente desea compañía, porque lo que más siente es una sensación de soledad, de aislamiento, de abandono, como fósforo, y requiere la compañía, pero cuando la tiene, que le mejora parcialmente por poco tiempo, la elimina, la bota, y ahí aparece la crueldad. Empieza como con la irritabilidad, con la agresión para alejar esa compañía. Y cuando aleja la compañía se siente bien por un momento, pero luego se mortifica. Entonces vuelve a ese círculo. Estoy solo, nadie quiere estar conmigo, pero la gente, el mundo está lleno de gente, pero nadie quiere estar conmigo. Entonces tengo la compañía, la rechazo y luego me mortifico por la soledad que tengo. Entonces tiene las 3 rúbricas.
Okay, shall we move to Dr. Beatrix? Is it finished? Dr. Beatrix?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. So, Marian, thank you very, very much for that really interesting presentation. And for me, it is a new remedy. And for me, it was very impressive that really deep suffering of these patients. The first boy we were talking about, that feeling, he is within his family, he's within the people, and he cannot feel. And he cannot get the energy from the people. That must be very, very terrible. And for me, that makes a difference also to phosphorus. Phosphorus also can feel alone, likes company, but normally a phosphorus person has that ability to give love to the others, to connect, and to feel better with company. So with these people, it seems must be terrible to be in such a state. And well, that's only an idea of mine. I feel that living on this planet we are coming from different planets, living here, one life or more lives, and there are these extraterrestrial people who have difficulties to adapt here and also have difficulties to join that level of feelings. And for me, very, very special to see that a homeopathic remedy can change this. It's something divine, I feel. If we see the families, all the problem, imagine if you are the parents of such a child, you do everything, you give everything, and the child cannot accept, cannot take it inside. So very, very great presentation, Marian. My question would be, especially with the first boy, how long did it take to get a positive result?
Thanks, Beatrice, for your kind words. Yeah, it was a challenging, the first boy, and the second
Yes.
one was very challenging for me. So in the first case, this boy, I was following up him like 7 years. 7 years where I was changing the remedies. And then I just start with plutonium nitricum 6 LM. In 20 days, he improves a lot. That grief, like natrium, just disappeared. And in 40 days, everything changed in his life. Now he will get a very good university. He is the best in the class. He has new friends. Is starting to construct a new relationships, but just in 40 days. So that time give me a parameter that we're in a good or in a wrong remedy. So that was
Yes.
my frustration by 7 years just following him and without a good results, just partial good results. Yeah, 14 days was.
That's very impressive. Very impressive. And one last question, please. We have plutonium nitricum, and we also have plutonium, or is it just plutonium nitricum? Just. Okay. Thank you.
In the
Marian.
Mater America, we have plutonium nitricum that it prevents like from plutonium, the radioactive isotope, plus nitricum acidum, like plutonium nitricum. And there is another plut that is 8 plut. There is another remedy, and that's homework for me to read that. But plutonium nitricum has more symptoms. It's bigger than plut.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Beatrix. And now, Dr. Sergio Castro. Please unmute yourself and ask question. He already appreciated you through the comment box, and now came forward to ask question.
I speak in Spanish, please.
Okay, Marian Salcedo is capable.
Me parece muy interesante porque es un medicamento para estos tiempos, ¿ya? Claramente, porque de partida, o sea, cambia las estructuras, las deshace, o sea, las rompe. Y ese sentido de urgencia también que uno ve en el caso, en los casos realmente y que tiene también tan buen resultado. Así que eso, Marian, quería saber cuál era esa relación entre lo explosivo, el gusto por romper algo y también el sentido de urgencia.
Gracias, Sergito. Te voy a traducir. So it's very interesting to know the remedy because it's for nowadays. We have a lot of that kind of illness. And it's very interesting to note that these kind of remedies can heal the patient too. So the question is, why is that explosive thing? Yeah, so I will answer in Spanish and then, no, I will keep in English and then I will speak in Spanish, please. Sergito, gracias. So according to the signatures, as you can saw in one of the slides, it's like a mushroom. So you have the trunk, that is the subconscious. And that subconscious is governing all the life. But when they cannot keep inside more, for example, is too much solitude, is too much lonely, is too much isolation, they just explode like a bomb, like a mushroom. It's the same analogy. So that explosion will be in a destructive symptoms in the mind and also in the body. And it will be different according to the miasm, which in the remedy is moving. In the Sora miasm, for example, the plutonium nitricum will be just like a phosphorus. I'm just feeling alone. I need company, I need support, I need protection. But in a syphilitic miasma, he will be very cruel. He will be very sarcastic. He will destroy. The same thing in the physical illness. So we have a different kind of symptoms according to miasm, the actual miasm in the patient. Entonces, es justamente eso, Sergito, como va, me ha encantado la analogía del champiñón, del hongo, ¿no? Porque el champiñón tiene como un tallo que se sostiene, pero todo en plutonium nitricum va a salir desde el subconsciente es el que va a gobernar el consciente. Entonces es una represión absoluta de todo, represión de pensamientos, de sentimientos, represión de la comunicación, represión sexual, que llega un momento en que realmente no puede, como la estafisagria, y hace esa explosión. A diferencia de esta fisagria es que el plutonium nitricum va a tener esta explosión destructiva, destruyendo cosas en la mente, destruyendo cosas en el cuerpo. Por eso es que la patología asociada a plutonium nitricum son justamente todos los trastornos genéticos. Rompe, destruye el ADN, todos los trastornos cancerosos, bueno, no todos, ¿no? Todos los que cubra el remedio en trastornos cancerosos. Y tiene justamente esta explosión y esta cosa roja que aparece, ¿no? Entonces, cuando se enfurece o cuando se siente avergonzado, viene ese flash rojo, ¿no? Igual que esta asfixiada, igual que la nucleómica durante el enojo. Entonces, dependiendo en qué miasma dominante tenga el paciente en ese momento, va a manifestar unos u otros síntomas. Un plutonium nitricum, por ejemplo, en un polo sórico, va a ser como un fósforo, ¿no? Es que yo realmente me siento muy solo, necesito protección, necesito apapacho, necesito que me abracen, necesito compañía. Cuando se pone psicósico te va a empezar a botar la compañía, ¿no? Y sifilítico a partir de la crueldad, destruyendo su relación. Entonces, más o menos esa es la dinámica. Pero es un medicamento tan profundo, con sensaciones tan reprimidas, que te puede parecer un natrum, que te puede parecer un fósforo, que te puede parecer una sepia, porque no tiene esa comunicación. En un mundo lleno de gente, siente esa soledad profunda, con esa incapacidad de comunicarse con el otro a partir de sus propias necesidades, siendo gobernado desde el subconsciente. Y con ese tema de la culpa, ¿no? O sea, del pecado, de lo que carga de sus antecesores como para pagar. Por eso es que también tiene sueños con hombres de neandertal, con piedra, tiene mucha cosa de misticismo, de magia, de espiritualidad, de homosexualidad.
Okay. Thank you, Dr.
Ya.
Sergio. And we have only 2 minutes. Dr. Gracia, you can ask. And okay. One more
Creo
question,
que,
Dr. Gracia. Okay, okay.
gracias. Marian, creo que Beatriz estaba preguntando del plutonium y por qué plutonium nitricum. Creo que estaba hablando de eso. Porque el plutonio, comentarle que el plutonium nitricum es porque lo sacan de la usina y es el que la usina cuando ya no sirve más, cuando ya se gastó todas las explosiones que tenía que hacer, entonces se hace una limpieza y se recoge con esas sales. Entonces no sé de qué manera la recogieron, eso va a quedar como un secreto para todos, pero que realmente la recogieron con el nitricum. O sea, con lo que queda. Y en la patogenesia lo que se ve es el agotamiento. También está presente el agotamiento y el cansancio.
So in this kind of remedies, this specific about plutonium nitricum was obtained by the nuclear bomb in some companies who made these proofs. We don't know why, how they have this remedy, but when the motor is without function, they just take out that salt to prepare the homeopathic remedy. So that's the reason why in this remedy we can see the weakness too as an important symptom.
Okay. Thank you so much. Dr. Marian Salcedo, you have to come frequently because everyone will join because you can explain them in their language. So it is must. You have to come frequently and take classes. Thank you so much and love you all. Bye bye. And we are moving to Malayalam session. Dr. P. Shaila, please come forward to conduct Malayalam session, please. Good night.